All right, so welcome back to the Patience members only tutorials. Today we're going to show you a simple 5-minute chart scalping strategy using the Paytience kit. A lot of you have requested that we show different strategies using these because the Paytience kit really can be used on every single time frame, and it can be used for trend trading, altcoin trading, Bitcoin trading, scalp trading, essentially everything. And it's amazing when used in conjunction and confluence with our oscillator. So let's get into the strategy here. For this, I'm going to be also using the Fairdesk exchange. If you use the Paytience link in the description, you will get insane bonuses. We have a up to $100,000 deposit bonus on that link, and you also get 15% rebates on your fees. Now, this is the 5-minute Bitcoin chart, right? And yours may look with the red and green candles. However, I have customized mine. We have a TradingView tutorial on how to customize yours, but let's get into it. So 5-minute chart, we're going to head to our indicators here, and we're going to turn on the Paytience kit. Now it's going to load up, and it's going to look like this when you start. We have the monitor in the corner, and then obviously the actual trades opening along with the bands, the proprietary bands right here. Now this basic strategy is actually going to be using the stop loss and take profit risk to reward feature of this. So you're actually going to be finding these trades from the entries that you give it. So this one we got stopped out here. This one right here on the 5-minute, we hit our second take profit. So that would have been great. And then here we hit we hit the second one as well. And no stop loss touch there. This one did get wrecked right there, but you can't win 100% of the time. Now let's look at what would have happened here. So this is what your chart would be looking like, and let's let this play out. So the trade opens, and you're going to enter here, okay? And this is the most basic strategy. This is simply using the built-in entries that Paytience provides. So we got 2 arrows, and the key thing to remember here is that each candle in this situation is 5 minutes worth of data. So these candles take 5 minutes to create each one, right? And this is showing you the price action within that candle. So you could have entered here, right? You could have entered anywhere along these candles when you saw this trade. We also have the tutorial on how to set up alerts, so you don't have to sit here for days on end looking for trades. You can simply get alerts. So here you would have placed your stop loss at the suggested level if you want, and depending on your risk settings, you can change them right here. And basically, you're just going to enter, and that's on your whatever exchange you're using. In this case, we're using Fairdesk. And for this, you could choose to use leverage. I'm not going to use leverage here, but you would enter your position, and you would buy the long, right? Because the take profits in this case are going for long, and this is a long entry indicated by the green arrows as well, and the stop loss being on the bottom. For example, here, this was a short, and this short actually played out really nicely after we got stopped out. So in this case, if you were not using a stop loss, you would have been good, right? If you sat through these 5-minute candles, you would have made a ton of profit there. So this simple strategy is simply using and basing your trade on the Paytience kit. So as we can see, we're dancing around in the negative and the break even, and then we get that breakout that it showed right there. So what you're looking for is the trade to open, and then what you're also going to do is look at the bands, okay, for more confluence. So you're using the auto-generated Paytience entry in confluence with our bands. Now take a look at the bands when the trade opens, right? Because we've seen like this thing can miss, right? It has a ton of amazing trades that are generated through this, but you have to also look at your own analysis. So what we saw right here is us touching the bottom of the bands. Now, what you'll notice with the Paytience kit is as soon as it hits the top or bottom of the bands, take a look at what happens. So right here, boom, we are now down right here, and you would have made a profitable trade. And here's the thing, you can actually get better entries if you trade sometimes based off of the bands, right? So technically, like, we could have got in here, right? Because at one point during this 5 minutes, the candle looked like it was down here. and this wasn't a wick, right? So we could have got in down here, and that would have made your trade like 2 times more profitable. And you could have got in even way before, like over here. So what you're looking for in this strategy is the confluence between the bottom of the bands or the top of the bands and the auto-generated patience entry. So this one went good until it went bad, right? Or actually, no, this one did very well, but you did get wicked on your stop loss. However, if you had higher risk tolerance here, and for example, you had your stop loss at 38,000 or getting even closer to 38,000, you would have been good and you would have made a triple take profit there. So it's really up to your risk settings and confluence. Okay, now let's look at some other examples. Right here, we went all out of whack, folks. Like, look at this. And this is a dangerous run to short on. Super dangerous, right? Patience kit triggered our short right here. And as I said, if you didn't place a stop loss, you still would have been good on that short in the end. But the trade does end when it hits your stop loss on the patience kit. But if you didn't place one, you would have been good. These runs are very dangerous to short on because these can be squeezes, right? Like, look at these giant candles being printed on the 5 minute, just consistently going up. But we went all out of whack. So you know, when we're out of those bands, inevitably we're coming back down at least into the middle of the bands. And this is where you can turn on the trend line right here and see that the price tends to return to the middle line, right? So if we look at this trade, like, let's go into the replay mode and we can actually look here at, where's the trade? Right here. No, sorry, it's this one. Hold on one second. It is this one right here. So let's see how the chart was looking. Like, you might have been thinking, dang, this has to come down, right? This has to come down. Patience triggers, you're still waiting. I recommend like waiting a couple candles, obviously, to confirm the idea. There's where you get stopped out, but now you're way above the bands. So this is what your chart is looking like. You know that you've been above the bands for like 30 minutes now, right? So inevitably, what's going to happen? This is honestly where you should enter, or even here, because you know you're coming back down into the bands, and most likely you're going to return to this middle line. And then as we see, it comes up and touches the middle line, and in this case, continues to break below the middle line. You also have the middle line, or the trend line, or the home line is what we call it, turning red, right? Which indicates more bearishness. And look what we got, more bearish trend, right? So it's very simple. That's the simple strategy with the patience kit indicator.